I once went hiking in Seven Lakes in Rockland County. It's 7 Lakes. Went hiking, and I'm hiking down there, and it's like 98 degrees in the middle of the summer, and suddenly this red pickup truck pulls up, and I see this guy with long hair, Indiana plates. He comes out, and he says, walks right over to me, and I see on his hand he has a big Semper Fidelis, Semper Fi tattoo. Anybody knows what Semper Fi means? Huh? My name is Semp, so I know what it means. Semper Fidelis is the slogan from the Marines. It means always faithful in Latin. Semper Fidelis is the Marine slogan. Semper Fidelis means always faithful. And if you ever see a bumper sticker now, you're going to notice it now that I told you. You're going to see bumper sticker Semper Fi, you know the guy's a Marine. So I see he has a big Semper Fi tattoo. Comes out, he walks straight over to me and he says, would you know any place here that's any quiet spot? I say, sure. Gegangen. I start walking with him. And I ask him his name. His name is Dan. Where's he from? He's insurance. It was after a storm. Before Sandy, there was another hurricane. He came by to do insurance assessments, whatever. So I ask him, where you from? He says, he comes from Indiana. He just was in Kabul. 3 tours. He just came back from his 2nd or 3rd tour from Kabul in Afghanistan. Going back a nice few years. How's your experience in Kabul? Horrible. The government screwed around with us. They promised us the stuff, didn't come through. It was Bush's war. It was wild. Okay, I listened to him. Finally, we're walking. I ask him, Dan, I want to ask you a question. Do you know who I represent, like who I am? I don't even know if he knew I'm a Jew. I don't even know. It was irrelevant to him. He didn't know. I said, I want to ask you a question. I walk here all the time. I go hiking. Nobody ever talks to me. They're very polite. Like you meet the goyim going down there, walking their dogs. They're like, "Hi, you're polite," but I don't know. I have a hard time connecting with them. There's like a barrier. He had no problem. He just walked right over to me, and we connected. And I said, "Why do you have no issue just walking over to me and talking to me? You ever saw a guy like me wearing like a wool reckle 98 degrees with a lid on my head? With you ever saw people with lids on their head, 98 degrees walking wool thing?" Why do you just feel comfortable just walk over? So he says, listen, I come from a town in Indiana somewhere, some southern town. We grew up very right-wing Christian, and we believe that whoever doesn't believe in the Savior is gone, damned, doomed forever. When I came to boot camp, I was with 1,200 guys, and suddenly I found myself with Mexicans and Asians and blacks and Jews and whites and everything. And I learned very quickly that if I'm not going to get along with the guys, I'm not going to make it. Because, in boot camp, you have this black guy holding a rope and you're 50 feet on the air, and if you tell him a nice, smart remark about his skin color, it might be the last thing you ever said. You're not going to make it. So I learned, he tells me, that everyone's blood runs red. I learned everyone's blood runs red, and it doesn't really make a difference. And when I view people, I don't see skin color. I don't see how you dress. I see if you're a good guy or not. And doesn't make a difference to me. Okay. It was nice. So we keep on walking. We get to the top of the rock over there by the waterfall in the middle of 7 Lakes. And I said, Dan, I want to ask you a question. You told me before that your experience in Kabul was horrible. The government screwed you, the Marines, Bush's war. But would you have ever came to this concept that everyone's blood runs red, which allows you to walk between all people and all nations and get along with everybody? Would you have ever come to that realization without having gone through whatever you went through in the army? Would you have ever got to everyone's blood runs red without have gone through the experience you went through in the army? So we're sitting on top of this rock, and the water's flowing, and he was quiet for a very long time, a minute, long time. And finally he kind of comes out of it, and he says, I never thought of it that way. And he was quiet again. And it was a very powerful experience because those dots were connecting in his mind. It was connecting that for a moment, he went on top of the mountain and he looked down and he saw in his own mind how what he thought was he was by mistake ended up in the army, and by mistake ended up in this miserable experience, and by mistake they messed him up, and by mistake they screwed him up, and he's living that misery, and he's cursing, and he's upset, and he's mad, and he's full of anger. But at that moment, he chapped in his own little world, in his own way, he chapped that it's all connected. You don't end up coming to new ways of living, new ways of thinking, new ways of being, new ways of appreciating people, new ways of being kind, new ways of caring, new ways of living real, without having gone through certain experiences.